Welcome into SPBL Live. We have a very special edition today. We have the 2026 SPBL team reveal. Here with me is Jacob and Garrett Brooks, as well as Titan Henley. We will be revealing the teams for you for the upcoming 2026 SPBL season. We have a lot to look forward to here today. Some new players in the field, as well as some storylines to follow. One storyline off the bat that I want to ask Garrett. Uh, Last year, after the Ball Hogs won, obviously with you, they were allowed to essentially run the team back. Obviously retired, but they added Wilson in there, and it was agreed upon that the Ball Hogs were able to run that team back. They weren't overly dominant, and there was also a change up in the lineup. The Mean Machine this past year, they won the championship. Do you think that they should be able to run it back again this upcoming season?
I do. I think they should have the opportunity to run it back. We have a whole season of them, so we have a whole season just of people on ways to counter them. We let Chris run it back just about. I mean, he gets one player switch for the past couple of years. So yeah, I think they should get to run it back and have another chance at a title.
We'll see if that is in fact the case. Mean Machine, of course, your 2025 SPBL champions, led by Jack Flynn, and all four of them will be returning to the league this year. We'll see if they end up on the same team. And as for the rest of the members of the league, here is a look at the players who will be participating in the SPBL in 2026. So we've categorized them here by sort of an archetype. So you have your superstars on the far left. You can see a fresh new name in there, Oakley Coleman. Oakley Coleman, a very, very highly anticipated name for this coming season. We'll get more on him in a little bit. Then you have your all-stars, your big men, which includes another newcomer, Michael O'Sullivan. And then your wings and your defenders, which includes the third and final newcomer, Brendan Riley. So these will be your 20 players competing in the SPBL this season. Again, 5 teams of 4, and we'll be releasing the teams. Will be showing the players in order of the archetype. So first we will show you where each of the superstars end up, then the all-stars, then the big men, then the wings, and finally the defenders. So we'll go right in order of the players, starting off with your 2025 SPBL MVP, Jack Flynn. He is the first member that's going to be revealed. Jack, of course, was a very highly anticipated newcomer. He had a fantastic season, won MVP, Rookie of the Year. He was the scoring champion, Finals MVP. He was just all around a fantastic, fantastic player that season. Titan, what do you think about how Jack's entrance into the league impacted the overall talent of the league?
Well, I mean, he elevated it for sure. There was kind of a clear 1 and 2 best players in the league before Jack Flynn entered the league, and that was Chris and Sam. And he kind of shook things up a bit in a really, really healthy way for the league. He just entered and became this offensive juggernaut that could literally, it felt like put a team on his back, and he can score at will from any place on the court. And it was just absolutely electric to watch. I'm super excited to see him next season. I really hope he gets another chance to run it back with the Mean Machine. I'm a big fan of dynasties in sports. I think they're fun to root for. I think they're fun to root against. And I think that he is an absolutely electric player that can kind of, he came in and kind of revolutionized the SPBL, in my opinion.
For sure. Jack, and I misspoke earlier, he did not win the season MVP, but he did win the finals MVP. And it was highly debated whether he should have been the regular season MVP. But he did take a little bit to heat up during the season. And he also has some detractors, as he does take a lot of shots. Some say he's a bit inefficient. However, that didn't matter in the end, as they still won the championship. And just as a note, for this team reveal, as you can see, it shows the Mean Machine there for his team. Those will be referencing the team that they were on last season, so not necessarily the team that they will be on this upcoming season. The team names will be revealed at a later date, but that is just for graphic purposes. Jack Flynn will be on the board first here on the first team. And we'll move right into our second player, which is newcomer Oakley Coleman. You can see he obviously does not have stats from previous seasons, but he does have some projections in there. Jacob, what do you think about newcomer Oakley Coleman? How do you think he will compare to past newcomers? We had Jack last season, we had Sam Satterwhite the season before, some highly anticipated players. Is he the most highly anticipated one yet?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he's probably the most athletic person there by like twofold. I mean, I will. The only thing I would be worried about for him is when he gets out there, he's gonna like know he's the most athletic, and so he takes it out too quick and gets too tired because he's gonna have to like carry a team. But I think overall, I think he's just gonna be probably easily the most anticipated, just because I mean we've never had a player who can like dunk consistently, which I've seen him do it multiple times on multiple people. So it'll be very interesting to watch. I'm really excited to see how these games turn out. And I mean, he'll have a highlight reel after one game, and I can guarantee that.
Now, you mentioned the dunking. There's a debate internally over whether dunking should be allowed in the SPBL. I would like a quick poll here. Jacob, yes or no, should dunking be allowed in the SPBL?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Garrett?
I mean, I really would like to see a broken goal, but I'm not the one paying the fine, so yes, but if I was, then no.
And Titan?
I'm totally down for it. I say slam it. If Oakley's on my team, I'm throwing lobs every single time. Like I'm gonna end the game with like 4 assists and 20 turnovers because I'm just gonna be like, and it's gonna be awesome. And that's what I would do personally, and I would pay the fine if he broke the goal. That's just me. I love it. I love dunking. I think it's absolutely electric. And so I say let him slam it. And if it's a tech, I'm still saying let him. I'm saying get that tech, brother, because like he needs to go and get it. That's just me though. That's just me.
Oakley's projection of 28 points per game would slot him in at third in the SPBL history.
I think that's low.
We'll see.
I think he's gonna go crazy.
I think he's getting more rebounds too.
Yeah, it's like you gotta think about it, right? 6'3" is like NBA guard, but in this league, he's gonna be one of the tallest players, and he's obviously got hops. I think he's gonna lead the league in rebounding, and then first or second in scoring. It's gonna be between him and Jack, I think. And I'm really curious. I'm really curious to see the block numbers too, because I think he could really like get up there and get some really cool blocks. And so I'm super excited to see how he comes into the league and plays.
I think a block off the backboard would feed some families.
Oh my god,
that would be insane.
Is this our LeBron? Did we just add the LeBron to the SPBL?
He will certainly be in MVP conversations throughout the season, or at least that is the expectation of him. Some lofty expectations, but some past performances from him in other leagues makes us confident that he will be right in that race in the SPBL. Oakley Coleman will be slotted into the second team. The next player that we'll be slotting is Chris Kina. Chris, obviously, arguably the most decorated athlete in SPBL history. He's a 2-time regular season MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, and a Defensive Player of the Year. He's not a Hall of Famer, notably. Only Hall of Famer ever is on the call with us today, Garrett Brooks. But Chris is one of the best players of SPBL history. He has been to 3 finals. Last year was the first season that he did not make the finals. And what do you think, Garrett, he needs to do this season to get back to the finals? Do you think there needs to be a shakeup on his team composition?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, I just want to see him score more points, but also get more help because obviously his team was really good last year, and you just see Nate Smith, it's asterisk. I know, I hate to say it, but lose in the playoffs. I think if Nate plays, I think he's there, and honestly, I think he goes on, and we're not talking about a conversation where he didn't go to the championship nor win the championship. I think the Flamethrowers do win the championship if they make it with Nate. So I like his team. I don't know if there's much of a shakeup we need because whatever you're gonna do, death, taxes, and Chris getting the 2010 game. So I'm not really worried about him. I don't think he needs to change anything. Keep doing what he's doing. Make sure his hamstring's all good, and yeah, just keep playing ball. Whoever you give him, he will play. He's a high IQ player. He'll play with anybody. So yeah, give him a shakeup. Give him something else. He'll still succeed.
Now, he did, obviously, as you mentioned, have Nate Smith last season. Nate Smith will not be returning to the SPBL in 2026. Nate was the best scoring partner that Chris has ever had in the SPBL, and that did lead to Chris leading the league in assists last season. We'll see who gets put on his team this year. Maybe he can repeat as the assist leader. Uh, but Titan, in your opinion, do you think that he should be trying to lead the league in assists, be kind of that facilitator, or should he focus more on scoring as his scoring was a bit down last season compared to his career, and obviously did not make the finals?
I think it all depends on team composition, honestly. If they surround him with a good amount of like really solid role players that he could find on cuts, I'm thinking like Zach, maybe Allen. If he has a lot of guys with a lot of movement, I think for his play style, fostering that movement would help a lot because like when he gets near the rim, he's unguardable. It's absolutely absurd. I've had the pleasure of guarding him for years now, and it frustrates me to no end how good he is when he gets close to the rim. I think for me, if I am him, I'm going to be hitting the lab this offseason and trying to get that three-pointer back down because he used to be so nice with it. And I think his confidence is a little shook with it. I think that would really help open the offense in his game. I'm leaning towards less assists and more scoring for him this year, just because it's all about mentality. If he's going to put himself in that superstar category, he needs to go toe to toe with Jack. He needs to go toe to toe with Oakley. Like those are the guys that he's competing against in this tier. Sam. Like all of these guys are phenomenal scorers. I think he needs to be at least as good as them at scoring, and then also elevate his game to be better than them by finding those open players, finding those assists. But first foremost, his priorities should be leading the team in scoring, in my opinion.
That's a very, very fair argument there. And also, rumors that he's been focusing a lot on defense this year. He wants to get back into that Defensive Player of the Year contention like he won in 2023. But one last thing on Chris, Titan, I hear that you may have some intel on a potential hamstring injury for Chris. Do you think that is going to be something that could hamper him this upcoming season?
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Hamstring injuries are so frustrating. They feel like they never go away until they do. So I think for him, it's going to be rehabbing that hamstring should be a majority of his focus. I feel like he shouldn't place a lot of emphasis on, driving to the rim and everything this offseason. And that's kind of why I'm like, maybe focus on getting your three back right. Because that's a lot more kind on the hamstring. And you can do a lot more like movement stuff, and it'll be a little bit better. It's definitely something to keep an eye on because if it's not properly rehabbed this offseason, it'll be a lingering issue throughout the entire season. Because if it's not completely gone away, it'll always be in the back of his mind. And I think honestly, getting to the season, it'll probably be more of a mental factor than it will be a physical factor. But you cannot chalk out that mental factor because if he feels less explosive, then he will be less explosive. And that is his whole thing. And I'm really hoping that he's going to be 100% for the season because the top end of this league in talent after adding Oakley is absurd. And he's really going to need to be at 100% to compete for MVP this year.
Certainly, certainly. We'll see how that injury impacts him, if it does at all, as the season approaches. But Chris, will be slotted into the third team. So he will obviously not be teaming up with Jack or Oakley. And the last superstar we have to discuss is Sam Satterwhite. Now, Sam Satterwhite has completed 2 seasons in the SPBL, well, 3 seasons. He's played in 3 different years, but he became a full-time member 2 years ago. Was a member of the Black Friars who lost a close one to Garrett's Ball Hogs in the 2024 SPBL playoffs. He returned in 2025 to lead the Gunslingers with the duo of him and Bo Hightower. They lost in the championship by 1 point to Jack's Mean Machine. Jacob, what do you think Sam needs this year in order to get over the hump?
Actually, I thought he had the team last year. Putting him up with Bo, I really thought he'd be. I mean, I'm surprised Chris stole the assist leader from him. I thought him and Bo would be crushing it, not even close. I would say that he kind of the thing he needs the most is a real like sturdy big man. Because Bo was great, but he didn't play. He played super outside. You know, I mean, I think he shot more threes than I can count, as many stars as there are in the sky. But I think if you give Sam a big guy, like kind of like how he had the Blackfriars. I mean, he had Nate, and that game with Garrett was close. So I think that give him some kind of sturdy rebounding, and he's going to be perfect. Because he does great rebounding himself, passing the ball, scoring. He's the most efficient player we have. But I think that he needs someone down low.
Certainly. And Garrett, you played against Sam multiple times. What were your keys to slowing him down on the offensive end?
Just being a shadow. So if you watch our game 2 years ago, I was on him for a while. He only really scored more when we got a switch. And so you just have to follow him around. It's not an easy task. I'm saying like it was easy. It's not easy. He's running around going through these picks. You got to follow him, chase him. It's very difficult. But just staying in front and watching him, not letting him get past you. It's all saying like it's easy. It's not easy. It's incredibly hard. You have to be on your toes against Sam. But just following him, making sure, being a ball hawk, just trying to not let him get the ball in his hands because he will cook you in open floor. So you got to make sure he just doesn't get the ball in his hands. And I do want to backpack off Jacobs, what he was saying. I think Sam needs a big man that plays big. I don't think Michael Roberts is in this league. I think Michael would have been perfect because if you watch him with Nate set a lot of screens, but he also kicked back to the three-point line. He didn't really shoot down low too much. It wasn't very common. And when they did it, they had success, but they just didn't do it as often. So I think getting a big man, kind of like maybe Chris Heights, I think would be good because down low, big presence, can shoot the three, but will go down low. So I think Sam needs that, and hopefully we can get it.
I would honestly love to see Sam with like kind of like a ball hogs type like construction team because dude, he is the sauciest player like in the SPBL by far. Watching him make passes, I'm just like, oh my God, it's so smart, but it's also like the perfect amount of flashy. And oh my God, he can lead the league. Like I am shocked. I'm with Jacob. I'm shocked that he did not lead the league in assists. Because when you want to talk about a smart but like so fundamentally sound passer, Sam is the passer in this league. And having like a group of just like movement-based role players around him, I feel like that team could move so well. And with Sam being the guy facilitating that movement, I think it would probably be the most fundamental team in SPBL history. And I think Heights would be the perfect guy for something like that because he moves really well. The way he sets screens creates movements. And like I've also had the privilege of going against Heights, and trying to go through a height screen is like literally trying to go through a brick wall. And I think that would be insane with Sam Satterwhite. And I think I would be very, very much down to see that.
Certainly. Sam obviously has some accolades of his own. throughout his SPBL tenure, and the one that is missing is the championship. We will see if he is able to get over that hump this upcoming season and win the 2026 SPBL championship. Sam will be on the fourth team here. So there you go. The four superstars are slotted into four different teams as expected. That leaves one team that does not have a superstar. And if we go over to our player list, we can see next we will have the All-Stars. We can probably assume that two of these All-Stars will get to team up with each other on that fifth team. Garrett, which two would you most like to see play together of those four All-Stars?
That is a hard question to answer. I know we had Drew and Neil and they had success, but you got to think Hunter's going to go with Jack. You think they're going to run it back, right? So I think it'd be really fun to see maybe a Neil or Bo or a Drew and Bo. Probably more Drew and Bo, because if we do Neil and Bo, we are going to have 100 threes a game. And I don't think that would be enjoyable to watch. So I think if Bo can get into his, like if you watch the championship game in that first half, Bo was just driving and making all of these little floaters, these little layups. It was fun to watch. It was insane. If he can do that with Drew, that is just going to be unstoppable. So I think I would go with Bo and Drew.
And just a reminder, we will be showing the four All-Stars next and where they each slot in. And we are revealing them in the order of the names shown. So we'll go Bo, Hunter, Drew, Neil. That does not necessarily mean that they will be in order here as the next four in a line, even though the four superstars were shown in a line. So the first player that we'll be revealing where he will go is Bo Hightower. Bo, another newcomer last season, was teamed up with Sam, had very high expectations. Many would say that he fell maybe a little bit short of those, but he was the rebounding champ last season. Rebounding is not something that he necessarily wants to have to be relied on for. He likes playing a little bit smaller than his size might suggest, but he is very vocal about wanting to have a big man alongside him this coming season. Titan, what do you want to see out of Bo this year?
Piggybacking off what Garrett said, I want to see him play a little bit more in the paint. Bro is a force. He is big. He can really like do some damage if he tries to like get down low and everything. I mean, you see it on the boards. When he's going for a board, he's an absolute animal. He wants it. He's hunting. I feel like if he can bring that mentality to the offense, he will unlock a little bit more. And also during the championship game, and it was kind of like throughout like the entire season as well, his three is, I feel like it's so close to just like dropping in. His motion is pure. I see why he takes so many threes. Like it looks really comfortable for him. So I think if those start falling too, it could really unlock his like offensive game. I feel like he was really, really close last season to being like an unbelievable player. And I think if he can get those threes to fall a little bit more consistently and drive to the hoop, depending on who he's paired with, I think the pick and roll and the pick and pop is going to be the key to unlocking Bo next season. And so I'm going to wait before I like say a little bit more about what I think he should do, because I do think it depends on team construction.
Certainly. We'll see if he gets paired with one of these superstars or if he gets put onto that fifth team here. Bo Hightower will be on the fifth team, so he will probably end up with one of Neil, Hunter, and Drew. We will see, as those will be the next three that we are revealing here. Next up is Hunter Freeman. Hunter has had a very, very interesting SPBL career. He is a two-time most improved player in the league, somewhat unheard of in sports. He also won his first SPBL championship last season. He's been all SPBL and all SPBL defense 3 times each. He's a ferocious rebounder down in the paint. Last year, pairing him up with Jack Flynn was the duo that was needed to bring home a championship. He's also played with Travis in every season of his SPBL career. Jacob, what do you think Hunter could maybe add to his game this year, or maybe what can he do to try to further move forward this season if he is in fact paired up with Jack Flynn and the rest of the Mean Machine again?
If he's, I think if he's paired up with Jack, there's not much he needs to change. But they've already won. I think they have to get more of a routine. I would like to see more of a zero step because I've missed that a little bit. I mean, that dude could 3-point line, 2 steps, and he's at the hole. I missed that. It wasn't as common for him last season just because he wasn't even the second highest score. You know, he was the third guy offensively. But I like to see the rebound. I mean, he kind of turned into a rebounder, and that's something he does efficiently and really well. So when it comes to this season, I would say like kind of get a little bit more offense. But to be fair, and they don't really need it with Jack. So if he's with Jack, keep it the same. If it's a different team, I would say just offensively try to bring the Euro back, please. I would love to see more of it. But other than that, and spread the floor a little bit more. But that's about it.
Certainly, certainly. And Garrett, you had some battles with Hunter in your time in the SPBL. While you were in the league, he never made a single three-pointer. Last year, he actually ended up making a few. It was kind of a surprise addition to his game. Do you think that's something that he could expand on this season, or should he focus on that paint presence that's his bread and butter?
Work on it. Get 3 I mean, if you can give Jack more room and spread the court, it's just more dangerous. Yeah, rebounding. The thing about rebounding is it's not. Yeah, there's a little bit of skill to it, but it's really just size, using your body, knowing where you are, seeing when Jack's shooting, and it's just IQ thing. So I think Hunter's fine on rebounding, and he'll be good there. I don't. It's just a second nature for him. I mean, I think he led the league in rebounding. What, I don't know how many times, but he's really good. He beat me in rebounding almost every year. So don't worry about that. If you get work on the 3-pointer, spread the floor for Jack, and if he makes 20%, I mean, then the other team is just punching air at that point. I'd be pissed. But I'm glad to see him work on it. And I mean, back in the day when I was playing with him, we let him have it, but now you kind of have to put a hand up. So that is dangerous because he can blow by too. He's quick.
Certainly a very athletic player in this league. We'll see if he's able to return to a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in 2026. Hunter will be joining Jack Flynn. So Hunter and Jack will be running it back, and then we will see if the rest of the Mean Machine ends up on that same team as well in 2026. Next up, we have Drew Bushman. Now, Drew is probably the most highly requested player for everyone in the league to play with. Everybody loves playing with Drew. And Titan, what is it about Drew that makes him so enticing to play with?
Dude, he's awesome. That's what makes him enticing to play with. Everything that you could possibly want from a point guard, he is. When you want to talk about like defense, he's insane perimeter defender. You want to talk about like one of the most important things is not turning over the ball. He is so sound with the ball. Probably one of the most like safe ball handlers in the league, if not the most safe. He's so smart with it. He makes the right passes. Like, I'm not even playing in this league and I want to play with him. I watch him play and I'm like, this is the guy that I want to play with because he is so fundamentally sound. He'll make the right plays. In my opinion, he's closer to a superstar than he is to an all-star. I love Drew. I love watching him play. I think that he is a dark horse candidate for MVP because when you want to talk about like sound and fundamentally good and just an overall floor raiser, that is Drew Bushman. It is absolutely incredible watching him play. I love him as a player. He is the most underrated player in this league as well. And I think everybody wanting to play with him shows that. He is just, I'm very curious to see where he goes because no matter where he goes, you can put him on any of these teams so far and they automatically get a big jump to like, I think his floor with just him being on a team is probably playoff contender. Or I mean, obviously playoff contender, but like he will make the playoffs. I think he's absolutely incredible. And I think pairing him with any one of these people on there will automatically elevate their game.
Certainly. Drew is a very fantastic player, and part of it, as you mentioned, his defense. For some of these superstars out there, they know that if Drew is not on their team, there will be at least one game, maybe more, where Drew is guarding them. And I think that most of those players do not like having to go up against Drew guarding them. We'll see Drew joining Bo Hightower on the
Let's
fifth team. We see
Yes.
the crew is very excited. Jacob, what do you want to see out of this duo of Drew and Bo? What do you think we can get out of them this season?
I mean, we can get only perfection. I mean, Drew, watching him play, he holds the ball at 3-point line. Last year, we got to see him facilitate a little bit, but Neil kind of played outside the arc. And I think this changes the whole dynamic for Bo. I think Bo now gets to be that inside presence and be able to play his game. And Drew's the perfect guy to set that up. I mean, Drew has the offense. I know he had Sam last year, but Drew's a completely different player for different reasons. And I am so excited to have this team together because, again, Bo's going to have to play a different game, and I think he's ready for it. And who's a better player? Who's someone who guards the point guard? Drew. I mean, he's the perfect defender and the perfect balance for this team. I am beyond excited for this one.
Certainly, this will be a very, very fun duo to watch this upcoming season. The last All-Star we have remaining to reveal is Neil. Garrett, where would you like to see Neil most of these teams?
Honestly, in my opinion, I only think I can see one team Neil going to here, and I love Chris. Chris Keenan can play with anybody. I don't see him meshing well with Neil. Sam Satterwhite, same thing. He could play with anybody, but I just don't see him meshing well with Neil. I think Oakley, the newcomer, is kind of the only team I really see him fitting well. And I can be proven wrong with the team reveal. He can go in wherever he wants, but I just think Oakley, Coleman is probably the only team I really see Neil fitting well.
Certainly. Oakley and Neil are rumored to have some chemistry. They have played with each other before. Neil, obviously a very polarizing player in the league, possibly the most electric player in the league when he gets going. Titan, what is your experience watching Neil from the sidelines?
There is nothing like Neil Sanity. When he gets going, it's just pure electricity. I love seeing him just chuck up these like awful shots and then just watching them fly and go in. It's awesome. It really is incredible. I think it kind of makes him a contentious player to play with in the league. Not everybody likes that because not everybody is just watching this from the sidelines, calling the games and everything like that. But me personally, if I was playing with Neil, I would absolutely love it. I love watching him just take those crazy shots. I love that energy. I feel like that's necessary. Like to be a basketball player, there's a level of cockiness, a level of like edge that you have to really execute at those like and make those plays and change the game. He's a guy who just at any given moment can flip the script. He's a momentum flipper. That's what he does. He throws up one of those shots, it goes in, momentum is flipped. And I think that is a very underrated quality of him. And we see his teams consistently upset teams that we deem quote unquote better because of his ability to flip that momentum and get his team kind of riled up. Because at the end of the day, you see your teammate take a wild shot and it goes in, you're like, let's go. It gets you hyped up. He's a momentum changer. I think he kind of like lowers the floor, but he greatly increases the ceiling of whatever team that he's on. And I think I'm kind of the opposite of Garrett. I could see him playing with anyone, and I can see him raising the ceiling on all these teams.
Certainly. And last season was probably his best regular season. He averaged a career high 22.1 points per game. The one thing that many of his critics would point out, is that he is not the best defender. So we'll see who he gets paired up with and what his team composition is if they're able to make up for his lack of defense. But obviously, the offense, when it's there, it is very, very difficult to beat. Clutch Player of the Year last season in the first year of the Elam ending. He had several huge shots down the stretch of his Elam ending games. It's almost like it was made for him when he is going. Neil will be joining Oakley Coleman. So Neil and Oakley, the duo, they do have some rumored chemistry together. As Garrett mentioned, that is probably the best duo that was left for Neil to join. We will see how things shake out for them this coming season.
Can I just say something real quick?
Certainly.
I think this is a great pairing. I was thinking about it, right? And we talked about how with Oakley, we think the rebound numbers are low. And I think the reason why they're low is because I think he's going to get more offensive rebounds than like what people are like anticipating. And I feel like that is the perfect counter to Neil's like quote unquote floor lowering. I think a lot of the shots that Neil takes, Oakley will be able to help clean those up if they're not going in. And I think that is kind of a dangerous offensive duo right there. I think that there's going to be a lot of points going down with that team right there.
Certainly. That will be a very, very fun duo to watch. A lot of great duos already revealed in this 2026 SPBL team reveal. We'll move on to the next group that we'll be revealing, and that is the big men. Nate Bryers, David Keena, Michael O'Sullivan, and Rob Downing. Now, of course, there are some other players in other categories who are also big, like Hunter Freeman is obviously a big man in the All-Stars category. Oakley is obviously a big man in the Superstars category. But those teams that are lacking big men right now, this is their chance to snatch one of these four big men available on the board. First, we'll start with Nate Bryers. Nate, last year with the Blues, was one of his best seasons. He really started to find a rhythm both offensively and defensively. He had a dynamic guard duo with Drew and Neil. This year, he is going to be moving on, likely moving on from Drew and Neil, since they both have bigs, but we'll see. There's a chance that he gets paired up with one of them still. But he's also a bit of a polarizing player, as while he is the tallest player in the SPBL, he doesn't always provide a dominant force down in the paint. Jacob, what are you looking for out of Nate this year? He obviously has a perimeter game for a pretty solid perimeter game. Do you want to see him kind of excel in that area or focus down in the paint?
I would say focus down the paint. We have a lack of real bigs in this league. So if he can stay down low and take over, I think that's the best thing he can do for himself. Because I'm not going to lie, I've seen him shoot. I haven't really been scared of the perimeter shot. So I've been more scared he's blocked me like 4 or 5 times in one game. I've seen it. I mean, I saw it go out of bounds. So I think that he needs to stay down low because, again, a lot of these players that he's going to go against drive. And I'm sorry, but it ain't easy to go around him. So, and even go over him, to be honest, he's 6'5". So I think he needs to stay down low and kind of, again, the 3-point shooting in this league's not bad. So stay down low, let the people shoot. I think that's his best bet.
Certainly. And defensively, he provides some very strong defense in the paint. He's a 2-time block champion, 2-time all SPBL defensive team. We will see if he's able to provide that same defensive intensity in the paint next season. But Clayton, who would you like to most see him paired up with? Obviously, here are the teams again. Chris and Sam are still alone. Also, the other 3 teams do have some bigs, but there always is room for another big. There are 4 bigs on the board, so some of them will have multiple.
I think him and Sam have played together. I think that's a fine duo. I think that works well. And if they are reunited, I think that would be a good pairing again. I think it would be pretty dangerous to put him on the Oakley Neal team. I think that would be a great kind of like height and blocking. I think that team would just kind of be like a juggernaut if that happens. I'm assuming right now that Heights and Chris are paired up right now. I don't love that if it's Heights and Chris again. I don't love putting him there. I feel like Heights and Nate probably played like a similar role. I don't know how that offense would move with that, so I don't know about there. And I don't want to break up the meme machine. So I'm thinking either Oakley or Sam.
Certainly. Sam and Nate have played together, as you mentioned. Uh, they did have a very strong season, as mentioned before. They lost to the Ball Hogs in the semifinals of the 2024 SPBL playoffs. And then, as you mentioned, Chris and Heights, you can assume they're going to be together for now. They have played together in every single season, but there have been some rumors of a potential split. We don't know at this time. We will get into that later once we reveal Heights' location. But for now, Nate Briers will be joining Chris Hina. So Chris is getting Nate Briers. We will see if he ends up with Chris Heights as well. This could be an indicator that that duo might be splitting up, or maybe Chris's team is going to be getting big. Obviously, they did have Nate Smith last year, who is also big, albeit plays on the perimeter. Nate Briers also plays a good bit on the perimeter. It'll be interesting. One thing to note is that Nate Briers will be getting married mid-season, and we know that Chris is very, very high on team chemistry, committing to the team, making sure that everyone has and make sure everyone is locked into each game. Garrett, do you think that the marriage, the wedding, could provide some sort of cloudy vision for Nate here? Will he be fully committed this season?
Well, I don't. I do and I don't. So, and I have reasons for this. At first, yes, I think so. But if there is still games after the honeymoon, he's locking in. I'm not going to go into the reasons why, but let me just tell you right now, he's locking in. All right. He's going to be so ready for the playoffs. I can guarantee you, I'm putting money on finals MVP Nate Briers after the honeymoon. He's locking in. I'm telling you this right now. I'm so excited for this combination. I think it breaks up Heights and Chris Keena and Chris Heights here. I'm super excited for that. I want to see something new. This is going to be amazing. Yes, I do think it's going to be some cloudiness, but it's getting clear as sunshine, man, afterwards. I'm telling you.
We'll see when the honeymoon is scheduled for. I don't know if we have that information yet, but Jacob, what do you make about this?
I can say I'm getting married in 40 days.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of a understanding. He'll be fine. I mean, he might be more locked in before the wedding because he's probably not doing much. He needs this distraction. Honeymoon, I agree completely. I mean, I'd be terrified if I was any other team and seeing Nate coming back. I mean, he might do a quadruple double.
I think it's also important to say who he's marrying. Probably one of the people who understand the most what this league is and what this league means. Shout out Miss Kaylee, crew member of the year last year, camera woman for the SPBL. She's absolutely incredible. She does a phenomenal job. And if there's any person to understand and get Nate locked in, I think it's her. So I'm not worried about it personally.
I mean, the honeymoon might be the film room, if I'm being honest.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Congratulations to Nate and Carly, two important members of the SPBL, and also congratulations to Jacob on his upcoming wedding. We'll see how all of this impacts the 2026 SPBL season. It could be positive impact here, but for now we'll move on to our next big that we are revealing, and that is Dave Keena. Now, Dave is a bit of an undersized big, but he does make his presence felt on the glass. Uh, he was with the Gunslingers last year with Bo Hightower and averaged 8.5 rebounds per game, was very solid on the glass, despite Bo leading the league in rebounds. Garrett, what do you make of Dave this upcoming season? Do you think at this point he's just kind of a known quantity, or do you think that there's something he can do to differentiate his game from what it's been?
Well, when you're talking about Dave, so I hate it for Dave, me not being in the league, because I swear that man put 300% more effort when I was on the court. I don't know what he had against me, but he did. Uh, so forget the stats with Dave. I mean, you don't need them. You just don't need him. He's the kind of guy that you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. He's the reason Nate Oates gives the hard hat. I mean, he is the given player that does that. He is trying. If you watch the championship, you'll understand why. What I'm saying. He played his role perfectly. I think Dave is a hell of a player. He's always a player I'd love to play with. He's always fun. But when you're talking about him, who cares about stats? He could be having 20 points a game. He could be having 2. Who cares? That's not what he's important with. He plays his role. He does things that aren't on the stat sheet. And I'm hoping to him to get into his regular routine. He looked like it almost. He plays very, very well, rebounds very well, and he boxes out. That's one thing where a common man doesn't do. He does box out. He knows to get his defender, and I would be really excited for him on anyone's team right now. So I think Dave knows what he needs to do. I like him in the big men because he rebounds very well. And yeah, I'm excited for him.
Garrett, I have a
Now,
question for you.
What's up?
I feel like I don't know. This could be wrong, but I feel like Dave may own like his play style is like probably the only play style in this league that is like a true big play style. Like the way that he plays, I feel like is the only like true center in this league. And I feel like that's a very underrated quality about the way that he plays. Even though he is a bit undersized, the way that he plays, the positions that he puts himself in, I feel like all of the quote unquote big men that we talk about, we just tell them to be more like Dave. Do you agree?
I actually, let's get the stats in here. Let's just the stat watchers. Let's pull something together. I bet you when people catch the ball, if you get the average of where they are to the goal, Dave's going to be the closest for sure. Like averagely, when he catches that ball, he's got to be the closest to the rack. I mean, he's catching it in the paint, like 40% of the time. He's catching it within 12 feet 70% of the time, and he's catching it outside the 3-point maybe 5% of the time. I think he does get that big role. So I'm hopefully he gets back into it even more. I think he does a great job already, but yeah, no, I agree.
And Dave certainly can provide a mismatch when he is paired with someone who is even bigger than him. Even if that player plays more on the outside, it forces the defense to make some sort of decision. Do you let Dave get height advantage on the inside, or do you put your big guy on Dave defensively and let the guy on the outside shoot away over a smaller defender? We'll see where he ends up and if he gets another big with him. Dave in 2026 will be heading to the team with
Wow.
Bo and Drew. So we get Bo, Drew, and Dave paired up together. Makes for an interesting combo.
Wow.
He reunites with Bo again from last year. What do you make of this rebounding duo down low, Jacob?
I think it's great. I mean, Dave, I'm hoping we get just a spark of Dave in his prime. I mean, that man was the tank down low. And if he comes out with that at all, I mean, that team's going to be unbelievable because then Bo will be able to play outside like he kind of wanted to, especially on defense. But I think that's like, I was not expecting Bo and Drew to get Dave. And I think that's perfect for him. I mean, this team on the far right is looking pretty dialed in right now. And I'm really, really stoked to see what the fourth player is. But I think that really helps. And Drew, again, offensive glue. I think that's going to be – I think Dave needs to just keep inside, and that's going to be a dangerous team.
Dave adds a lot of flexibility to that team. Like it allows Bo to kind of play how he wants any given Sunday. And I think giving Bo that leeway will make this team super flexible. And I think Drew will thrive in that flexible environment and figure out the different ways to beat each team.
Yeah, I think Dave, all he needs to work on this offseason is just habit. Catching the ball, not altering how you're shooting going up. Do not alter it. Have your own routine. Go through contact, go up, do the same thing every time, same motion every time. And he'll increase him finishing at the rim 100%. I mean, he'll double what he makes if he just practices on that routine, catching the ball down low, going up, doing the same motion. And I know you'll get contact, but if you're doing that same motion, you'll learn to adjust. So I think Dave needs to work on that, and this team will be unreal with Drew.
Certainly, that will be a fun trio to watch. So far, we have on that team 2 returning members from the Gunslingers. They're replacing Sam with Drew, and then the 4th member last year was Joe Kina. We will see if Joe or someone else is back to join the team this coming season, and then how that will change from the Gunslingers last year. Gunslingers were obviously very competitive, lost in the championship, and now they have a slight change up so far. Sam is still alone, and we will see if he gets his second teammate here in newcomer Michael O'Sullivan. Now, Michael O'Sullivan is known to have some chemistry with Sam. He will be in his first season in the SPBL. He is very tall, and where he lacks in athleticism, he makes up for it in height and effort. And so Jacob, how valuable is just having that height and effort and IQ in the SPBL, even if maybe you don't have the ball skills that some of the other guards would have?
Yeah, I would say knowing how to play is one of the key factors in playing. I mean, high IQ changes a lot of things for this league. Also, I had the pleasure of playing with him in rec in high school, so I do. Sadly, I did watch him break his ankle. It was really sad to watch, but I'm hoping that he's kind of toughened, strengthened him up, maybe wear an ankle brace or two. But I think that he adds a lot of value. I mean, he was mid-range, crushed it, down low. I mean, he got every rebound. I mean, he knows where to be, where the ball's going. So I think he adds a lot of strength. I know, again, we say 10, 12 average, but wouldn't be shocked if he was up 14, 15, and maybe 13 rebounds a game. I could see this out of him. I know we haven't seen him, but I've seen a lot of good things out of this guy, and I'm really excited to see him kind of play.
Certainly. And as mentioned, he does have some chemistry with Sam Satterwhite. We'll see if he ends up there. Garrett, what do you make of Michael Sullivan from what you know about him?
There's 2 things I would tweak with him here, and I would change his assist total from 2 to about 3.5. I with the high IQ, and I'm assuming he's getting paired with Sam. So you're gonna have 2 high IQ players. Those assist numbers are gonna go up. I think I would deduct his points about to like 7.5 roundabout, and I would just up his assists. Also, a little cross analysis. It feels weird to me, and I'm not trying. It just feels weird to me that he's the same height as Oakley Coleman. I'm just throwing it out there. People are gonna forget that. That just feels a little odd, but I think it's. I would add his assist number up, and I would lower his points, and I'm assuming he's getting paired with Sam, so I think that's going to be a lot better.
Jacob seems to vehemently disagree with you on the points aspect. Jacob, you think that Michael will be a good scorer in this league?
100%. I mean, if we're putting him with Sam, he's double digits, no doubt about it. I mean, I'll even make a bet with Garrett on this one. And he's a double-digit scorer all year.
We'll see.
I'll put
we'll see.
$20 on it. He's double-digit score averaging on the year.
Michael with some supporters from the media crew to start off his career. We'll see where he ends up here in 2026. Michael O'Sullivan will be joining Sam Satterwhite. He has that duo. They have the chemistry. We'll see if he's able to put up the numbers that Jacob is expecting out of him.
Pretty high.
Next up for our last big man, we have Rob Downing. Rob, another member of the Meme Machine last season, and he obviously has his detractors, but last season he put up a career high in points per game. He also rebounds per game. He's very, very strong statistically relative to his prior appearances in the SPBL with his new team of Jack, Hunter, and Travis. And Garrett, you saw in the championship even he made a bucket, and that bucket was the difference. A win by 1 point. Rob makes that bucket. They win by one. Where do you think Rob can make an impact, and what do you think it is about that team that he was able to kind of find a niche in there?
Well, I mean, finding a niche, yeah, but I just think being on Jack's team allows Rob to do his thing. When you have a guy going 30 points a game, it allows Rob to hunt the rebounds, get the assists, set the picks, do almost like a glue guy for Rob. And again, kind of like sort of close to Dave, you know his role. You know exactly what you're going to get out of him. It's just how much you use that and how much you don't use that. And I think Rob scoring those 2 points was electric. He could flip the script on you. If he scores 2 possessions in a row, pack your bags because you're probably going to lose the game. Because that is such a shift in momentum. Not downplaying it. I'm trying to upplay it that he makes such a difference when he does score. So I like the 2.5. I like the aggressiveness for the projection of 2026. I'd love to see it. I mean, that's more than a bucket a game. So let's see it. But I think Rob, again, makes a difference, and I hope to see him with Jack and Hunter again because I think that is the most beneficial for him.
Certainly.
I feel like it's not oh, good.
I was saying Jack was certainly getting some involvement in the screen game last season. I think Jack might have been teaching him some stuff on the screen game, saying some pick and rolls. Titan, what do you see out of Jack? Or sorry, what do you see out of Rob with the Jack duo?
I feel like it's not talked about enough that his name is Robert Downing. Bro is literally Iron Man. Like he's Iron Man. He's cool. He's a really good team player, and I think playing with Jack allows him to get comfortable because he doesn't feel offensive pressure. And I think that means when he does take a shot, he's a lot more comfortable with it. And so I'm really hoping. I feel like if he gets paired with the Meme Machine right here, they're officially running it back. And I really, really want to see them run it back because I think he'll continue to improve as he gets more comfortable in that offense.
Certainly. Rob, Iron Man Downing will be heading to join Jack and Hunter. So there's a third
Good.
member of the Meme Machine running it back. Last one left is Travis. We'll see if Travis does in fact join them this coming season. But those are your bigs for this upcoming season. We have 8 more players left to reveal, and the next group that we'll be revealing is the Wings: Josh Bryars, Travis Wilson, Luke Bryars, and Joe Keena. Josh Bryars last season with the Ball Hogs was forced into a bit of a more offensive role. He had some more offensive responsibility last season without Garrett there to kind of really take over offensively sometimes. And really overall just a tough year for the Ball Hogs, down season. Garrett, what do you think Josh needs to do this coming season to get back on track?
That is tough, man. I just think he needs to play his game. He needs to find a ball handler, but not only that, but he needs to get be paired with one of the big men. I think a great opportunity for him right now would probably be Chris Keene and Nate Bryars. I think that would probably be the best team for Josh because it spreads the floor. He's similar to Nate Smith. Chris saw a lot of success with that, and it could switch from being really good to really dangerous with Chris Keene. So I think as a wing, he spreads the field, spreads the court, I guess. And if you spread that court with Chris Keene, chalk up 2 points. One-on-one, he is dangerous. So I think he can get back into his realm that he did with the Ballhawks 2 years ago with me. I mean, he scored 21 points in the championship, not talked about enough. I think he can do that with Chris Keena. I think he gets that Nate Smith role. He just needs to play a little bit better defense. He plays already good defense, but just a little bit better on the wing. Because if you're with Nate Bryers, you're going to play the wing. So he needs to get to that role, and I think he does a really good job. I think his assist numbers will go up. I think two's being fair, but I think he's going to easily get through 13.6 or higher. Easily. I think he's that 15 mark right there. So
Now, it's noteworthy that Wilson will not be returning to the SPBL this coming season as he will not be in Mobile anymore. So, based on the teams that we've seen so far, it looks like the Ball Hogs will officially be fully breaking up. Josh Bryers, where would you most like to see him play this coming season, Jacob?
I
Of
would
of
love
these teams here.
these teams. I mean, I think he fits perfect with the Chris Keena, Nate Bryers. Also, I'd love to see him with the Sam Satterwhite, Michael Sullivan. I think both those teams really are the 1 point guard, big guy down low, plays perfect for Josh. Spread the floor. I mean, I've seen him play. He can drive, but when he's hot, I mean, he's hot. He's kind of like I just don't see him playing well with Neal. Not to say that I just don't think that the 3-pointers for that team would really work out too well. And I do think that the Chris Keena, Sam Satterwhite teams would be perfect for him. I really believe that he's going to Chris Keena, Nate Bryers' team.
And we will see Josh
Yep, I agree.
revealed right here. Josh Bryers will be going and joining his brother Nate and Chris Keena. The brothers that have not yet played together, Nate and Josh, they'll be teaming up this season with Chris. Titan, what do you make of this trio so far?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of love it. I think right now, how they're constructed, they are spread out beautifully. Everybody has a defined role in the offense, and I feel like that's super key. There's going to be no confusion about what your job is and what you're supposed to do. And I feel like that'll eliminate a lot of turnovers and a lot of like missed possessions, which I feel like is very key in this league. I think also the 3-point shooting that I was talking about with Chris is a little bit less of a big deal now because he kind of has that wing option to just kick it out to and get a little bit more consistent open look through that and take a little bit less pressure off of him scoring outside the arc. I think this team works really well, and this is making me think that Heights is not going to be on this team because Josh is a really good player. And I feel like I don't know the numbers, but I feel like Josh is another highly requested member to play with. He's kind of the perfect role player, I would say. Just a guy that you absolutely love to have because he's so good at his job. He's so good at what he does. And I think that if you throw Heights on this team, it'd be really good. And so I'm kind of curious to see if he's there.
Certainly, he is that offensive scoring role player that you mentioned. He is a very, very consistent scorer. And now that team so far of Chris, Nate, and Josh, they can all shoot so far. That's kind of reminiscent of their team last year as the Flamethrowers. I should say Chris's team last year as the Flamethrowers. We'll see who that fourth member is. If in fact Chris and Chris are being split up, we'll see where they end up in the end. But for now, we'll move on to our next wing, which is Travis Wilson. Travis, of course, he would be the last member of the Mean Machine completing that team to run it back. Titan, what did you see from Travis down the stretch last season?
Dude, Travis is awesome. I love Travis, and I love how he became a more prominent ball handler in that offense. It's the perfect pairing for Jack because Jack is he's really aggressive offensively. And I know it takes a lot out of him to be so aggressive offensively. And so the fact that he had a guy to just pass it to and he could take over that offensive possession was really awesome. And I love that him and Hunter have played together so long because I think that's a chemistry that's still being developed. And I could see them getting more involved together and taking more pressure off of Jack. to let Jack shine in the big moments where you really need him. I thought their team construction was so well last season. Him coming to prominence as a confident ball handler really helped that offense flow. And he was kind of like a little Jack Light in those situations, and he's so clutch. He's so clutch. Oh, that playoff game where he hit the dagger on them. Oh my God, that it's just so electric. I love Travis. I think he's an extremely underrated player still, even after winning the Most Improved. Like I think that he is so good, so confident, and so sound. And when he's playing well, when he's scoring offensively, he makes the Mean Machine what they are, a championship team. And it's so good to watch. I really hope he goes back to the Mean Machine and we get to see them run it back, because that team construction was probably my favorite of last year. I loved everybody's role in it, and I loved that team.
Certainly. And Travis, as you mentioned, very confident last season. You saw him come into his own towards the end of the year. And you mentioned that playoff game in the semifinals versus the Blues, in a game where Jack was not necessarily at the top of his game. You saw Travis step up, score 21 points, hit the game winner, really push them over the top in that one. And then you saw that confidence carry straight over into the championship game where he made some strong impacts there as the Mean Machine won the championship. Travis in 2026 will be heading back to the Mean Machine, completing that team. They will be running it back in 2026. Another year together. Garrett, what does it mean for a team to have back-to-back years together, have that chemistry fully returned and built up for this upcoming season?
It's a lot to have the same chemistry going in from one year to the next. I mean, with me and Zach, I kept Zach for 3 years. We never really lost our spark. We just played defense and we played the basketball. So, and I also think letting them run it back just makes the league more fun. Having them an opportunity to run it back, it just makes it very entertaining, and giving other teams to switch it up, giving other teams a chance to make adjustments. It makes the league 10 times more fun, and I'm really glad they get the opportunity to run it back. And honestly, their chemistry was really kicking at the end, so I really hope they keep it going, because this team's pretty unbeatable when Jack's on, when Travis is on, when Hunter's on, when Rob's scoring. It's a lot of fun. I knew we kind of assumed this was going to happen, so I'm just glad we don't have to assume anymore.
Yes, then that is the first full team that is revealed this season. Jacob, what do you think about the Mean Machine running it back?
I think that it speaks a lot on confidence, because if you got a player like Jack who shoots probably 25 shots a game and has all the confidence in the world, it takes a lot as a player on a team with a score like that to take shots. I mean, that's a real confidence thing. And I think Travis is again, they won it all, so it's perfect. But I do think he's just the perfect player because he's not afraid. I mean, you're down 3 seconds left. Take the shot. Travis is that guy, and I'm very excited that they get a chance to run it back, because we only got to saw a glimpse at the end of what they can be, because they really did get the gears rolling at the end. So I'm really excited to see Travis run it back with them.
Certainly, certainly. As for our third wing that we'll be revealing is Luke Bryers. Luke, just like Josh, a very smart player, has a very well-defined role, and he plays that role very, very well. Clayton, what is it about Luke that also makes him likable in terms of people wanting to play with him around the league?
He's first off, he's a really nice guy. He's just a really good guy and a good player to play with. He's so smart. I feel like he's one of those players that is just in the right place at the right time. And he's that Swiss Army knife for a team that he could kind of do whatever you need him to do. And it's just so convenient having that. We were talking about the flexibility that Dave added to the team all the way to the right. I think he is another one of those kind of players that whatever you ask him to do, he can do. And just having a guy like that makes people these guys who have their certain roles on the team be able to do those roles how they want to do them. He adds a comfortability to a team that makes everybody like play better. He's an ultimate synergizer. I feel like just watching him on the court. It's incredible to watch. Like I love just people who can just do anything that you ask them to do. And I think having that on the team is really, really nice. Garrett can speak to it better than I can because he played with him. But I feel like playing with him is just the ultimate luxury of whenever the ball is in his hands, you're not sweating.
Certainly. He is a very, very smart player, and he plays his role well. Luke Briers will be joining Sam and Michael. So, Garrett, as someone who played with Luke often, what do you think Luke's role on this team will be so far?
Well, you want to say facilitator, but that's what Sam does. So it's like having two antennas just connecting back and forth. I think it's going to be really fun. We've always touched IQ on already Sam. We already touched IQ on Michael. This is going to be this is going to be the smartest team in SPBL, probably history. I think the chemistry here is going to be so much fun. Luke is so smart. He doesn't turn the ball over, rarely ever does. And now you're going to get him with two other smart players who know basketball very, very well. It's dangerous, I think. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Luke adds so much, doesn't turn the ball over, can spread the court, can go to the basket aggressively, finish with contact. He's done it many times. So I think this is quite dangerous, especially Luke not being the number one guy on taking the ball down. I think it's very important.
Certainly. And we'll see who their fourth member is if they get another high IQ player to join them as the fourth player. But the last wing that we'll be revealing is Joe Kina. Joe Kina, another player who, while the stats may not show it, he has a very, very high floor, doesn't really make a lot of mistakes usually. And that's something that can be very valuable in this league, just not really turning over. One thing that is a bit of a criticism for him is his defense. And Titan, what do you think about Joe's ability to fit into a team on the defensive side of things? How hard is it for his team to try to game plan around any sort of defensive liability? Or do you think that's something that he can improve on here?
I definitely think it's something that he can improve on. Like he's not an unathletic guy, and the effort is there. And I'm a firm believer, as somebody who played basketball later in life, that effort is key with defense. And I think if he continues bringing his mentality that he has to the game, he'll become less of a liability on defense. I think the main thing for him is height. Is like not you got to be smart about how they get Joe into the paint. But even in like the championship game, we saw Joe make really savvy fouls down low and force people to go to the line. And I feel like if he continues he's a super smart player. If he continues to know his weaknesses and kind of like counteract them in those ways, I think we haven't seen the best Joe Kina this like yet throughout his career. I think he's a guy who will continuously improve and get better as he continues to play. More of a developmental prospect, if you will. But I think Joe's Kina's best seasons are ahead of him. And I think that, throwing him on Gunslinger's Light to the right would not be a bad move, because right now that team is pretty defensive, with Drew kind of taking over for Sam Satterwhite's lacking in defense. I think that would take a lot of pressure off of Joe Kina, and having Bo as a big presence down low would really, really help.
Certainly. And as you mentioned, Joe is a smart player defensively. While he may not have the defensive ability of some other players, he does make up for that with some high IQ plays. And he would also certainly fit well into that Sam team, giving them a fully rounded IQ team, although that would be on the smaller side of things as far as team height. But we'll see Joe Kina join the team of Chris, Nate, and Josh. So we end up with two pairs of brothers joining the same team. Joe also reuniting with Nate, who he had been playing with until last season was the first season they did not play together. Jacob, what's it like playing with your own brother in a league like this?
I mean, it adds a lot. I mean, it's to a point to where like you might get the most unselfish ball ever, but you also might get the most arguments ever. And I think that adds a lot of things to this because I think the goal is just to win. I would question the mentality when they're losing, just because it might get a little bit too argumentative between each other. But I do think that that's going to be a really unselfish team that's going to really move the ball around. And I'm kind of excited to see. I didn't expect Joe Keenan. I expected him to be with Bo and Drew. So this was a kind of a left field shot for me. And I think it works out perfect for that team. I think it's going to really work out. And playing with your brother does add some layers to it, but it makes it a little bit more enjoyable.
I think
Certainly.
the most underrated part of Chris Keena's game is his ability to recognize his teammates' strengths and also their weaknesses. And I feel like he's really good at developing their strengths and weaknesses to make the team as cohesive as possible. I feel like if the things that we were talking about with Joe, his strengths and his weaknesses, Chris understands those at the highest level and will already has a game plan to develop those strengths and weaknesses and counteract them where need be.
Certainly. And while this team will not have a defensive specialist, as those will be the last four players revealed, you can always trust Chris to put forward a good game plan to try to devise a way to defend the other team well and make themselves greater than the sum of their parts on defense. Now,
No
one thing
heights.
that this does mean no heights with Chris Kina. Chris Kina and Chris Heights officially will be
Wow.
on different teams in 2026. We will see where Chris Heights ends up here with the rest of the defensive players, but that will certainly be a storyline to watch throughout the season. The last four players that we are revealing are the defenders: Alan Edeker, Chris Heights, Brendan Riley, and Zach Khalifi. We'll start right away with Alan Edeker. And I should note, Oakley and Neal both have two slots open, so they will be getting two defensive specialists joining their team. Titan, which two of the four do you think could pair up most well together? We have Alan, Heights, Brendan, and Zach.
I think if Heights is on this team, that would be insanely dangerous. With Oakley's athleticism and Heights' screens, that actually may break the league. I kind of hope for league balancing sake, that Heights is not paired with Oakley and Neal, because that just seems like offensively like way too many open baskets for those guys. So I'm like, I would love to see Allen on this team. I think Allen is probably. I keep saying the word underrated, so I got to find a different word. But bro is athletic. I feel like his athleticism is very underrated. He's super big. He kind of plays physical. And I feel like that would be a really good pairing for that team. Kind of bringing that like athletic hooper mentality to it. I would absolutely love to see him there. And he's a bigger guy as well, which kind of offsets Neal's like heights. That I think that defensively that team would kind of be crazy. And I honestly like, dude, any of these guys, Brendan, I've heard is kind of a dog on defense too. I would love to see any of these guys paired together on this team, because I think the mentality of that team would just kind of be the perfect balance between Hooper and dog. You know, they'll be Airbud out there. You know, just kind of like the hooping dogs. I don't know. I'm very curious, and I would love to see it.
Certainly. And Allen is someone who was kind of increasing the respect for Allen kind of increased throughout the season last year, as not a lot of players knew much about him coming into the season. He obviously filled in the second half of 2024 once Sam Honeycutt went out, but Alan Edeker was played well enough to the point where on this past SPBL offseason podcast, when we had Sam Satterwhite join us as a guest, Sam Satterwhite himself mentioned that he would love to have Allen on his team. A player like Allen goes a long way in this league. The hustle he brings and the rebounding that he can bring, even as a bit of an undersized big. But obviously also very strong defensively, and that's where he falls as a defensive specialist. He will be joining the duo of Oakley and Neal. So they get Allen, and that will help to round out their team on the defensive side. They have one more coming, and it'll be really exciting to see who that fourth member is joining them. Now we have 3 players left, 3 slots left on 3 different teams. Next up will be Chris Heights. And Chris Heights obviously did not play with, or is not going to be playing with Chris Kina this season for the first time. Garrett, what do you think about Chris Heights splitting away from Chris Kina? Do you think that that will have a negative impact on his performance, or do you think he can still flourish away from Chris Kina?
Well, I mean, they make heartbreak movies based off this, I believe. It's tragic. You really hate to see it. I do think production won't go down. I don't think so. I think a team that would be very, very intriguing would be Sam, Michael, and joining them because, again, high IQ players. We were hitting on that earlier, and Chris happens to be one. So I think that would be, I mean, we got the big craniums playing. All 4 of those would be a lot of fun. I think his production would increase significantly with Sam. So no, I don't think it'll be the only thing that's going to change is just our hearts, I think.
Certainly, and Chris Heights is the reigning defensive player of the year in the SPBL. He's been the steal champion 2 times, and also last season and the last couple of seasons, really, he's started to come into his own as a 3-point shooter, as a spot-up shooter, and teaming up with someone like Sam Satterwhite, who could get him open for threes just like Chris Kino was. We'll see where Chris Heights ends up right here. Chris will be going to join the team of Sam, Michael, and Luke. And as Garrett pointed out, that is a very high IQ team. Jacob, what do you make of this team on your first reaction?
I think that any assist record for a total team is going to get broken. First off, and also I think that the scoring on that team is a little scary to look at first, just because you're putting a lot of weight on Sam. I do think Chris Heights spreads the floor, and I am a Michael believer. So 13 a game sounds pretty great for Michael here. But I do think that the scoring out is it looks a little scary, but I do think Chris Heights is the perfect guy for this team. Looking at it now, I do think he'll have a little dip in production at first just because he's not with Chris Kina. But I do think they'll get it going really quickly. But yeah, I love this. The pick and rolls are going to be amazing. This is going to be a great team, I think.
Certainly. And Titan, you're a big proponent of that pick and roll duo between Sam and Heights. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I don't think so. In my opinion, Sam Satterwhite is the best half-court player in the league that I've seen. His ability to generate offense in the half court, I think, is unparalleled. And I think adding Heights is gonna give him a luxury that I don't know if he's ever had. Heights is I can't understate how important Heights' screens are. In terms of generating half court offense, they are insane. The pick and roll, the pick and pop will be able to just generate half-court offense like that. Throw in Luke Briers, who's so smart with his movements, and everything that Garrett and Jacob have said about Michael being such a high IQ player. I think that whereas they don't have like a lot of like scoring potential. I think that they will probably lead the league in field goal percentage. I think a lot of their possessions will be executed really well because I think Sam, given the space that Heights will create for him, will be able to do so much with it. And I think that any kind of crashing that you do to like stop Sam from getting to the rim, he'll be able to exploit and find his high IQ players in favorable positions for them to execute high percentage shots. I think this may be one of the most efficient offenses in the SPBL next year. Will they be able to keep up with a hot Jack night or a hot Oakley night or a hot Chris night? I don't know, but I think their floor is going to be so high that if they have good defensive plans for all of those guys, which I know Sam is a very big player coach, a lot like Chris Kina, and a lot into developing game plans to stop those big guys. I think that this team could be very, very good and very, very sound.
Certainly, and we'll see if Sam can get over the hump this season, win a championship. He now has a two-time champion on his team and another one-time champion in Luke Briers. So a lot of championship DNA on that roster. We'll see if that is what it takes to get over the hump. We're down to two players left, Brendan Riley and Zach Khalifi. Brendan Riley, now he is someone that he's a newcomer, and I had the pleasure of hearing about the legend of middle school Brendan Riley from Sam
Demon.
Satterwhite and
God.
Garrett. Yeah, Garrett
Demon.
and Jacob, can you touch more on this legend that we have, and can he return to that form in the SPBL?
Yeah. I'll take this one. We all heard of Andy Dalton being called the Red Rifle. That was Brendan Riley before Andy Dalton existed. That man was the one you talked about. If you're playing St. Mary's basketball, it was watch out for the redhead. I mean, my dad was the coach, and we were terrified of him. I mean, he would easily drop 24. You blink your eyes, and he's crossing you up. But this dude was diabolical in middle school basketball. I would wake up in the middle of the night sweating, thinking about playing St. Mary's on Saturday morning. That guy made that team terrifying. So I think that he could bring this. I know he's going to be nice. He's going to say he doesn't play. He hadn't played in a while. He's slow. The 5 assists, I'm all about that. But 7, 17, it's the same for him. He doesn't know the difference. Brendan Riley is going to be that guy. And I think Oakley's team would be the perfect fit for him.
Yeah, Brendan did reportedly describe himself as a tough defender and not a scorer, which we'll see. He probably is being a little humble there. He did end up becoming a very strong golfer, played collegiate golf at Samford, but now he's returning to his basketball roots from middle school. We will see how he does in the SPBL. A big question mark here, but a big X factor for one of these two teams left needing a player. Brendan Riley will be joining the trio of Bo, Drew, and Dave. So if he has anything that's reminiscent of his middle school days, this team certainly could be a contender to watch. Titan, what do you think about this team?
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I personally have never seen Brendan Riley play, and I'm just gonna take him at what he says he is for the purposes of this. I think if he really is like that, like if he's a tough defender, I think this team matches up so well against all of these other teams defensively. Just having Drew as the defensive rock that he is, being able to guard the one the way that he can. You have Bo like going up against all of the big men and him just being an absolute dog on rebounds. And you throw in Brendan Riley to either help like take a little pressure off of Drew guarding the one or even guarding the three. You want to talk about turnover potential? I feel like that is just like going to be so electric. And Dave is very fine guarding the four. He's probably the biggest like mismatch at the four that there is. I think defensively, this team, this team is gonna be circled on a lot of these other teams schedule, because I think this is gonna be an absolute hellish team to play against. And I think that if he's as smart and as savvy as the Brooks brothers are saying, I think this is like a team that could low-key rival Sam's team in IQ. I think this team is very smart and very sound, and I am super excited to see these guys and how they act on the court.
Certainly. And that leaves us with just one player left who will be joining the trio of Oakley, Neal, and Allen, and that is Zach Khalifi. Zach Khalifi has had an up and down career throughout the SPBL. He has been known to be a defensive specialist, as he is listed here right now. He's also had a couple seasons where the defense may have fallen off a little bit, but we'll see where he ends up this coming season. Garrett, how do you think Zach fits into this team of Oakley, Neal, Allen, and Zach? And what do you make of the team as a whole?
Well, I mean, not everything's rainbows and unicorns. I don't want to say it's a great fit right now. It doesn't mean it'll be a great fit in the season. It's just interesting to me having Allen, Neal, and Oakley. Just like with Zach or with Jack last year, we're putting a lot of pressure on Oakley here. I know Neal can help him out, but Allen and Zach are not scorers. They're purple for a reason. They're defensive specialists for a reason, right? It's putting a lot of pressure on Oakley on his first year. I know Oakley is amazing. He's a heck of a player. And I said the same thing about Jack last year, and they won it all. So you could just take it with a grain of salt if you like. But I don't know if it helps much because Zach he does move the ball a lot. He does move it well. But I just don't see him taking a lot of shots on this team, which is fine. But I don't know if it fits well with the offensive scheme that Oakley and Neal are going to be wanting to cook up.
See, you say you don't see like the offensive potential here. What I see a lot of offensive rebounds on this team. I think this team is going to be hucking up shots and getting boards. I don't think this team has to be efficient to win games. I think this team is literally going to manhandle every team that they play against. I kind of love this fit. I think that this team is going to be an absolutely diabolical combination of just guys hucking up shots, going to the rim, and then a frustratingly deep offensive. I can just see like a possession. I'm envisioning it right now of a possession where they take like 5 shots and then get all 5 offensive rebounds, and then Neal just like hits this corner 3 fading in the background and it goes in, and then the other team is just like I don't know what to do. I think this team is going to be so fun to watch. I think they're going to be flying around, and I think offensively it's going to be chaotic, but in a great way.
We've kind of seen some team archetypes form a little bit as we've been discussing. So, you have your Mean Machine returning as kind of a strong all-around team. Your next team, you have a very strong rebounding team, as Titan was just mentioning, can get a lot of offensive rebounds and put up a lot of shots between Oakley and Neal. Then you have a very strong shooting team, which Chris usually ends up with. He ends up having some shooters around him again. Dangerous shooting team. We have a high IQ team led by Sam Satterwhite, and then we have a very, very strong defensive team to round it out. We'll see if those archetypes ring true in the season, but here is a fresh look at your 2026 SPBL teams. And before we go, we will need to do one more segment that we have done in team reveals in the past, and I'm going to go through each of you and ask you to pick your preseason champion after your first reaction, and then what might be an even more difficult question: which of these 5 teams do you think could miss the playoffs, as only 4 teams make the playoffs? That might be a tough question to hear. So, Jacob, we'll start with you. Who is your initial reaction champion, and who do you think is going to miss the playoffs?
Okay, I mean, it is hard. I'm gonna go ahead and start with my elimination pick, and I really hate to say it because it hurts my heart, but I do think if I was to pick a team right now, it'd probably be Sam Satterwhite's team to be eliminated. And I'm not saying because they're not good. I think they could be 7-0, 0-7. It's just the scoring scares me. And rather not, they can pass the ball, move it around. I have no problem with that, but that would be my team to pick. I hope it doesn't happen, and I don't think it will. But if I had to pick one, but if I pick to win it, it's going to be hard for me not to pick Bo. But I really do think that the Oakley and Neal is probably going to be my winner, just because we haven't seen a player like Oakley before, and it's going to shock a lot of people when you see the film on the first game. He's going to be an absolute dominant player. So I do think Neal's going to get it. That Neal and Oakley get the ring this year.
Some high praise for Oakley already. Garrett, over to you.
Might be a hot topic here. I'm going to start with my worst as well. The team I don't think, knowing what I know, the team I don't think is going to make the playoffs. And this is going to be the first time I think he is not a favorite, a top 3 favorite team to win it. I think Chris Keena's team doesn't make the playoffs. And it's shocking enough, I don't know if the Chris Heiss is going to stop him or not. I don't know what it is, but that team, looking at other teams and knowing what I know with Chris's hamstring, I don't know if it's 100% healthy. I don't know. And that is too many question marks when I'm looking at other teams where I don't have that many question marks. I'm going to have to choose Chris's team. I can see this team winning 1 game, maybe 2, and that be I just don't know. I just don't like that team as much compared to the others. So I think Chris Keena is going to have himself a tough season mentally and physically. So we will see with that. But for my best team, I know Jacob doesn't like Sam's team. I don't know. It's hard because you have Jack coming off a title. You have Oakley coming in who can dunk and basically is the LeBron James of the SPBL already. Then you have Sam Satterwhite, high IQ team, and Bo. I am picking Sam's team. And the only reason I'm picking Sam's team is I know Jacob has him as his worst. I am a big high IQ guy. I've seen Luke play. I've seen Chris play. I've seen Sam play. Sam's going to get a lot of one-on-ones. I think they can score enough. And I think Chris Heiss is going to elevate. I think Luke's going to elevate. I'm waiting for the elevation for Luke. And if he does, no one's stopping him. I think they're going to run into Oakley's team in the championship, and I think Sam beats them.
That is we'll see 2 very different takes on Sam's team already. Titan, give us your picks for this season.
I'm actually gonna have to agree with Garrett on my worst team, with Chris's team being the team I have the most question marks about. I'm not saying that they're going to be a bad team or anything. I just look at Chris's team construction in the past, right? And I feel like there was more consistent scoring at the other levels of his team. I feel like I've heard of all of these guys having cold nights. And if you have cold nights in this league and put all of the scoring on Chris, I don't know with the hamstring and his explosion where that's going to be at. Asking him to kind of put himself in a position to re-injure that hamstring is very, very concerning to me. Especially like, I'm not saying that he will re-injure it. I'm just concerning the mentality that he's going to have in terms of balancing hamstring management and also winning games. I think that he's going to be looking to kick out a lot. And if his teammates are off, like Nate Bryers is not Nate Smith, Josh Bryers is not Nate Smith. Logan, back in his prime, was a really good scorer when he was on. I don't know if this offense has the ceilings in Chris Keena's past, which I find to be kind of scary. And I hope they prove me wrong. Chris, feel free to have an MVP caliber season, average, a double with like assists and points. I would absolutely love to see it. Please prove me wrong. It'd be very, very great for the league. But that is going to be my worst team. For my best team, I'm kind of torn. I love Bo and Drew. I feel like this team reminds me a lot of the LA Blues last year, and the fact that they were kind of underrated, just like looking at them like on paper. I feel like this team cohesion is going to be extremely good, and they're going to win a lot of games people aren't expecting them to. But we saw it last year. I'm gonna go with the rookie coming in and lighting the league on fire. I think Oakley is gonna be that guy. I think that Neil is like his electricity is gonna feed off on Oakley. And I think Oakley is gonna lead the league in rebounding at 6'3" and being able to jump like he can. I have no problem with them not being quote unquote big because of Oakley. And I think that Allen and Zach will add a mentality to this team that on defense, they're going to be dogs. On offense, they're going to be dogs. I think this team is just made up of too many dogs not to just either blow teams out through just pure athleticism or scrape through teams just of pure force. I think this team is going to be an absolute menace and is at least my number one team that I'm like most excited to watch. But I think I choose Neil every year to like to win it all. I love Neil. I love Neil's sanity, but I think this is his best team that he's had. And I am so excited to watch this team. I just want to shout out the Mean Machine, though. I think that they're still a fantastic team. And I think that Jack can turn it on at any given moment and just to win a game. And I think that's way too undervaluable not to just mention, since we mentioned all of the other teams in this segment. I think that the Mean Machine are impossible to count out.
Certainly, yes. And I was going to say no one picking the Mean Machine. I would say that I think that the Mean Machine are the top team. They have that chemistry returning again. Jack obviously an elite scorer, but the only team that I would otherwise that I was debating between was that Bo Drew team. I think Brendan is the X factor there. I think the high end Brendan, if he could show any shades of his middle school self, that team is going to be unbelievable. But
you also got to consider who's going to be guarding Brendan, because you're gonna have like the two best defenders guarding Bo and Drew. There could be a lot of favorable matchups for Brendan to give himself potential to unlock his middle school self.
Certainly. So Brendan, a big X factor there, and then I am on the side of Jacob here with Sam's team. I think that Michael, again, another newcomer, an X factor here, because the current composition of Sam's team with what I am expecting Michael to be, I just don't think the scoring is quite there. Even though I love the IQ, I think it's going to be a lot on Sam Satterwhite, and obviously he's a fantastic player. But it's a lot to do on your own, and we'll see if he is able to pull it off. But it will certainly be a very, very interesting race to watch. Garrett, any final comments from you?
Carson, who'd you pick last year to be last?
I do not remember, actually. I feel like, I don't know, do you remember who I picked last year to be last?
No, but I remember 2 years ago. So I truly do not take your word for whoever is going to be last. Okay. For all the fans out there, he picked my team to finish last 2 years ago. Just saying, I truly think you're sleeping on Sam's team. I know you don't see what Michael's bringing to the table, but I'm telling you, they're going to get a lot of open looks. They're going to have a lot of good shots, and they are going to make them. So do not sleep on Sam's team. I know y'all have him as bottom. Do not sleep on him.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Thinking back to last season, I'm pretty certain I either picked the Ball Hogs or the Mean Machine to finish last. Just thinking back to those teams, one of them finished last, the other one was the champion. So depending on, someone's gonna have to go back to the tapes and see who I picked out of that crew, because I'm fairly certain I did not pick the Flamethrowers or the Gunslingers, and I believe I picked the Blues to win it all. And they had a hot start, but fell off down the stretch. Titan, any comments from you?
Yeah, I just want to say that I think Sam's team is probably the most well-constructed team the SPBL has ever had. When you look at it, you have no questions. Everybody has their place, and everybody knows like what they're going to be doing. my question isn't offensive. My question with that team is more defensive, which I think Heights will help a lot with. But I think it's not more can they generate offense, but how well do they defend other teams, which is why they weren't my top team. But I think in overall team construction, that this is probably one of the most sound team constructions that the SPBL has ever had. I really like it. I think they're going to fit really well together. And I think Sam is going to be savvy enough to come up with defenses to really help this team. I'm kind of with Garrett on this one. I wouldn't sleep on Sam's team. I think they're going to be good.
Certainly.
I'm just saying,
Well,
I'm just also just going to say that if we flipped Sam and Chris here, I feel like we would not be on that team as much. Sorry, Family Channel, you can blurt that out. But I just want to say that Sam is just as good as Chris. And I think that this team is going to be good.
it will certainly be an interesting season. It sounds like Sam's team is probably the most hotly debated right now, but we'll see how things unfold in the season. Perceptions will always change as the season develops, and we will see which teams come out, emerge as the leaders of the pack, and which ones fall behind. It will certainly be a very, very fun race to watch, and certainly there's a lot of equality across the board here among the 5 teams, and that's always the goal here with that team reveal. So we'll have 5 strong teams coming into the SPBL season in 2026. We will get the team names soon, but until then, these are your 5 teams for the 2026 SPBL season, and we look forward to calling games again this upcoming season. A lot of fun competition to be had in 2026. And we thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you soon as the season gets underway. This is SPBL Live signing off. Thank you for joining us for today.